Thanks, Amy. And before I start, I do want to also thank Alcohol Action for asking me to come and talk to you today. I'm feeling slightly nervous about talking about the project because this is the first time it's been publicly disseminated. We've never talked about this work before. The findings are just coming out. So that also means that half of my talk I'm going to read, so I make sure that I cover all the points. But I'm happy to talk to anybody afterwards about, the project is bigger than just what I'm going to present to you today. So before I begin, I want to acknowledge the funding, the Marsden funding that supported this project, and the named project investigators, and also the co-investigators and research students who took part in this project. These were 3 PhD students and 3 master's students. All right, okay. So I'm going to start by giving you a bit of a background to our project. It was called Flaunting It on Facebook, and it was interested in examining young people's drinking cultures and what's been called the culture of intoxication, or the culture of drunkenness among young people's drinking. It was also focused on looking at how new social networking technologies are playing a part here, and within that, the role of alcohol marketing and commercialisation within these online environments. So again, I'm just going to do some background before I get into the study itself. The culture of intoxication. It's been one of the things that it's about is about getting drunk. The aim is to go out and get drunk with your friends. Researchers have called it things like determined drunkenness, calculated hedonism, and also controlled loss of control. The key things, it's controlled in the sense that it's controlled to particular times and spaces, and people still carry on with having full-time jobs. One of the things that the research tells us is that this is regular, it's routine, and it's normalised. It's just a normal part of everyday life for a lot of these young people. And importantly, it's about being sociable, having fun, going out with your mates, having a good time. It's not just about the drinking itself either. It's about what happens before the drinking episode, getting organised, getting prepared, preloading before you go out drinking when you meet up with other friends. And it's also, importantly, about what happens after the drinking episode. And a lot of that is about sharing and telling stories about what happened on the night out. And a lot of that is also to do with looking at photos and uploading photos to Facebook, which I'll be talking about. There are lots of things that have changed in the past 20 years that have been linked to this culture of intoxication. There are more opportunities for drinking, alcohol products have changed, and the pricing and promotion is often geared towards the rapid consumption of alcohol, cheap alcohol. There's also much more targeted alcohol marketing. Come on, I don't know why this, right. In recent years, there's also been a rapid growth in the use of social networking sites, especially by young people. The latest World Internet Project report from New Zealand shows us that 87% of people under the age of 30 belong to a social networking site, and most of those are on Facebook. From October last year, there were 1 billion members on Facebook, and within Facebook, photos seem to be particularly important. In mid-2011, it was estimated there were 100 billion photos on Facebook, and it was also estimated that the average Facebook user has 97,000 photos within their network of friends to look at. An important point here before I move on is that social networking sites are commercial platforms. They use sophisticated data miners and algorithms to combine and then sell on vast amounts of data to third parties and other commercial interests. So put those two things together, social networking and drinking cultures. This is an iPhone app that you can download that mimics beer, so when you tip it back it looks like you're drinking the beer. Alcohol-related content is really prominent on social networking sites, both within New Zealand and internationally. There are multitudes of posts, pages, activities and photos about drinking, socialising, bars, partying and being drunk. What does the research tell us? Griffiths and Caswell analysed 150 Bebo website pages of people aged 16 to 18, and they showed that how young people wanted to present themselves on these sites, whereas people who were able to drink a lot present themselves as people getting drunk, and they wanted their friends to see them as having connections with specific alcohol brands. In Australia, Ridout and colleagues have looked at university students' Facebook pages, and they found that university students use photos and written comments to ensure that alcohol is a key component of their identity on Facebook. What they also found was that this was related to the students' alcohol consumption and problematic alcohol-related behaviours. Within New Zealand, we've also found that young adults willingly share and display their drinking stories and their drinking episodes online, primarily using digital photos. And then, these photos are commented on, people are tagged, they are shared, they are tweeted. For the young people, these activities are pleasurable, it's having fun, and they particularly reinforce friendships and group identities. Within this environment, digital alcohol marketing is happening. Digital marketing is also called social media marketing, and it includes things like interactive websites, social networking sites like Facebook and YouTube, videos, online games, Twitter and phone apps. For marketers, social media marketing is cheap and easy. What it allows is it means that they can get product exposure to young people and all of their friends quickly and in a straightforward way. It's not one way like traditional marketing, like the TV ads. It hinges on promoting interaction and conversation among potential consumers. The amount of money that large alcohol companies are devoting to digital marketing is increasing rapidly. For example, Diageo, which is a multinational alcohol company, announced in 2010 that its social media marketing would account for 21% of its marketing budget. In 2011, Diageo announced it would step up their multi-million-dollar partnership with Facebook and stated that its brands have collectively enjoyed a 20% increase in sales as a direct result of Facebook activity. And it's also about marketing across platforms. It's not just about digital marketing. It's about integrating the messages across various platforms. So marketing efforts integrate online and offline promotions, including the sponsorship of music and sporting events. Obviously, we have concerns about digital alcohol marketing, as we've already heard from speakers this morning. Alcohol marketing, we know, shapes young people's attitudes and behaviours. Several recent international reviews, as Sally has already pointed out, conclude that alcohol marketing increases the likelihood that young people will start drinking, and that when they do start drinking, they'll drink more. One of the key factors here is social norms. Perceived social norms, what you think your friends are doing, is important for drinking and high-risk drinking patterns. And another key concern about digital marketing is that it's largely unregulated and it can easily attract underage drinkers who we know like the online marketing activities that the alcohol producers are putting on Facebook. So, turning to the study, there were two stages to our study. It was a qualitative study, so we're interested in getting people's meanings and what they thought about their drinking and what they're doing on social networking. So the first stage was doing friendship group discussions. We did 37 of those, and these included 154 participants. We aimed to get a diversity of a sample. We had a range of Pākehā, Māori, predominantly Māori and predominantly Pacifica groups, and these were all facilitated by an ethnic facilitator of the same ethnicity. We had 10 all-female, 6 all-male, and 21 mixed-gender groups. We had 90 females overall in these group discussions, 60 males, and 4 people who identified as wha'awhine. All participants were required to be between 18 and 25 years old, and the mean age was 20. It's important to note here, before I move on, the actual diversity of our sample. As well as this range of ethnicities and genders, we had groups from cities, small towns, rural locations. We had people on benefits, people who are working in professional jobs, and people who are full-time students. We had some parents, we had people in relationships, and we had single people. Okay, so in stage 2, we asked a subset of those participants from stage 1 to come and talk to us with a laptop, where we sat with them and looked at their Facebook profiles. Again, this was a range of ethnicities and genders, and again, obviously the same age range. So what did we find? Everybody is on Facebook. We found that Facebook was embedded in these people's drinking cultures. They used Facebook in so many ways. They used Facebook to gain information about drinking, places, people, products, to organise when they go out, to share their photos about drinking. That includes liking photos, tagging photos, commenting on photos. They use Facebook to interact about previous drinking sessions and to interact while they're engaging in a drinking session. They use it to connect with alcohol brands and products. They use it at the time to meet up with people who are also out drinking and to receive alcohol promotions. Here's a quote just to give you an idea of this. So this is from a group of all females. And the participant says, whenever we're having drinks at my girlfriend's house, we'll just all sit there on Facebook, just casually drinking too. And so Dee, who's the facilitator, says, and so what sorts of things do you do on Facebook when you're having a drink? Uploading statuses, telling everyone that you're drinking, so drunk right now, anybody want to join? I actually do that. And Dee asks, what sort of statuses would you say? Oh, I plan to go out tonight, I don't know, just like sending it out, or who's going out tonight. So you can see, Facebook is part of getting ready and the drinking itself. The photos the next day were a really important part of this culture. So here's another, and it's an all-female Pākehā group. Dylan says, I think the reason why we have the drinking photos is because it makes your life more fun. So you're always doing something. And Lo says, it's memories as well, and all your friends are out together on the piss, and you do have fun. So you take photos, and some of them will be funny photos, and you'll just look at them and crack up and go, oh my gosh, do you remember when you were that wasted? And they all laugh. Crystal also points out that, and a few of our participants said this, oh yeah, if you don't really remember what happened the night before, you'll see a photo and it will trigger your memory, and then you'll remember what happened. So you can see that Facebook's, fully part of this drinking culture. This came out in 2008, but actually this is what we're finding. So what we were also interested in is how do young people engage with digital alcohol marketing? Like I said, our research was qualitative. We got people to talk to us. And what I'm going to do is use 3 quotes that are examples of what we found in this research. These quotes are exemplars, and I want to point out that these findings were generally consistent across our data set, despite the diversity of participants and groups. So these are overarching findings held across genders, ethnicities, social classes, and locations. I'm going to read through these quotes, and then I'm going to unpack them for you, so bear with me while I read through them. So Trish is the facilitator in this group of young men, and she says, do you see any alcohol advertising online? Yeah, no. Jack says, there might be some somewhere. Mark says, I don't think so. Are they allowed to? Alex says, I never see it online, bro, not on Facebook or anything. I always just see it on a billboard. Trish asks, have you seen any Facebook profiles like TUI or Cruiser? Or Mark says, oh yeah, they all nod. They have seen that. Yeah, and Alex says, yeah, I've seen that. You can like them, click on the like button. And then, it'll just be on Facebook. So often you'll come across a friend in the notification or the update, his profile update. It'll just say, Jack likes 42 below New Zealand vodka, and you click on it, and it'll be like a description of what it's about. Stuff like that. What flavours, where you can get it from. Goes on. Trish says, well, do you think that could be advertising? And Jack says, yeah, it's got to be. And Mark says, not necessarily. And Alex says, not necessarily. I reckon it's just Mark says, well, someone has to make it. They don't have to make it, the alcohol producers. We could make one about vodka. And Alex says, isn't advertising selling the product? Trying to get the public to see. It's not selling the product. It's not really selling the product. It's just saying what it is. It's not really saying this much here. It's this much there. Specials are here. Not as far as I know. And Jack agrees, yeah. Right, I'm just going to unpack that a little bit. Hopefully. Right. So one of the key things here that again came out across our groups was that despite the vast amount of alcohol products, events and marketing on the internet, and particularly on Facebook, this content just wasn't viewed as marketing by our participants. So the commercialisation in the marketing is implicit. Interacting through the like button, Facebook pages encourage people to like them, and that facilitates branded conversation. But crucially, what it also does is it provides marketers to access to the profile data of users who like the pages. So every time you click on the like, you give away information about your interests, activities, photos, and friendship networks. There's also a lot of viral marketing going on. The distinction between whether the online material is made by a user or by a brand is blurred. This is the friend in the notification. It's not coming from an alcohol product. And every click and interaction with an alcohol product page on Facebook passes on data about the individual. This information is then used to personally tailor marketing to that user. We know this, based on their Facebook identity, interests, peer networks, and attendance at local events, and other things. Facebook's consumer analytics are critical to designing social media marketing strategies. Diageo stated in 2011 that future social media marketing campaigns must begin with analyses of known fan profile data. Okay, this is another quote. Again, this is a group of guys, and Trish says, this is user-generated content. Again, here Mark's talking about how someone has to make it. They don't have to make it, so it doesn't have to be an alcohol product making a Facebook page. But that, again, that blurs that boundary between users and commercialisation interests. And it's not viewed as marketing. It's merely providing useful information. The goal of digital alcohol marketing is to get positive word of mouth about a product from people within a social network to others in that social network. And that's what Facebook enables, through the blurring of user-generated and commercial-generated material, and by not viewing it as marketing. Right, moving on to the next quote. Again, this is a group of young men. And Dave starts by talking about alcohol marketing on Facebook. Steinlager have got a thing going at the moment. You upload a photo of you with a Steinlager, or like something happening with this can, and you go in a draw to win. Trish says, is that right? Dave says, yeah, so that's like a group on Facebook you can upload pictures to. So I guess that's a way of advertising their stuff. And I mean, that comes up on my like down the side. It comes up on the side of mine. He's talking about his Facebook page. So different photos being uploaded every now and then. Do you go to any alcohol websites? Nah. Oh, I went to the Tui one once. I was trying to win something. Alex says, that's right. What was it for? No idea. Online doesn't do much for me. I go on Facebook. Facebook is so entrenched in their daily lives that it's not even considered online. People uploading photos to the Steinlager page really does blur the user and the commercial content. Users' photos mix in with official images and videos. Incentives such as competitions encourage people to like the brand page, and in this way, they obtain access to people's information and their friend networks. But they also encourage people to create and promote their own material about the product or the brand, upload a photo of you with Steinlager, and that way, inadvertently, people become ambassadors for particular products and brands. And it's an ongoing interaction. So the product appears as part of a friends activity on Facebook, not something coming at you from an alcohol company, uploading a photo of Steinlager. It gets sent out to friends' news feeds that so-and-so has uploaded a photo. And then it gets shared with friends and beyond. The important point here is that because this isn't an explicit persuasion attempt, it's much less likely to raise our defences as consumers. This is the Steinlager Facebook site. It's like a friend page. It's got photos, it's got comments, anyone can post on its wall, it's interactive. The brand's part of everyday life. One of the comments up here, someone's posted on watching tonight's episode of NCIS. You know, everyday activities. The other thing about people posting on Facebook pages like this is that users can say things about the brand that the brand can't say themselves. So users can talk about, I'm so shit-faced, I'm so drunk, this is fantastic, in a way that the brand could never say it. And that's what happens on these Facebook walls. Steinlager also uses canny branding and giveaways to make them fully part of everyday cultural practices, linking the product with sports and music events. And it also by somebody going just to the page, not even entering the competition, but just going to the Steinlager page, because of this, means that they get a whole lot of user profile information every time someone goes to look at this. Okay, the final quote I want to share with you is one about marketing on mobile devices. So here, mobile devices are smartphones, things that you carry around with you. And because these have become so much cheaper, a lot of people have them. And that means that people are logged into Facebook continually while they're out. So this is a group from Hamilton, 4 females and 3 males. So CR says, yeah, they, bars, just talking about bars, have their own Facebook pages. And you can like it, again, you click on the like button. And then once you've liked them, when they send out events and notifications, then because you're a part of it, it comes up in your notifications. So like the Outback, it's the pub in Hamilton, is having a quiz night or something. And or else, you know, come before 11 p.m. on Saturday and all girls get a free cruiser. Little deals like that and stuff that they send out to everybody. Ladies free night, yeah, ladies free night. $5 pizza in a jug, these are the sorts of promotions that this bar have been having. Yeah, that kind of thing. That just gets sent to notifications. See the use of the word just? This is no big deal, this is just every day. So D, the facilitator, says, and do those posts encourage you to go to those sorts of places if they're having good deals or good things? And the participant says, yeah, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't know about it. If it wasn't for Facebook, I would have no idea. So, again, just unpacking this a little bit. This marketing that comes into your personal notifications, that comes into your notifications just in exactly the same way as your friends' notifications do. So when you've got your friend drinking down the road at their flat saying, we're drinking, want to go out, in the same way the bars are telling people what's going on. In that way, it's kind of seamlessly integrated. Commercialisation processes are seamlessly integrated into these routine practices. It's mobile marketing. It's sophisticated integration of real world and online activity. It's dynamic. It's happening in real time. This technology, this mobile technology, provides the unprecedented ability to follow young people through their daily and nightly lives, delivering instant marketing offers. In terms of providing data, this must be the holy grail of data mining and behavioural tracking. Smartphones with geographic location data mean companies can get information not just on what consumers do, but where they're doing it and when they're doing it. Then they use this information to send highly targeted messages and promotional offers as the person is getting close to a bar or a club or a shop that's selling the specific brand of alcohol. This is already happening. You can download the Time Out and Smirnoff iPhone app, which has geolocation technology that lets users view recommended activity and places close to where they are right now. And then they can go to where they want based on that app. What this does is it raises alcohol marketing to a whole new level. And at the same time, it raises serious public health concerns. I can't go on without pointing this out. Facebook is essential. It's part of everyday life and socialising for these young people. They see it as a tool. It's really useful, but they are not thinking about the vast amounts of data that are being mined with every keystroke and every bit of information on their location tracking. This is the Outback in Facebook page, and you can see it's again like a friend page. It's got instant updates about what's going on. Over on the far side, this is a post that the Outback Inn have put up with a photo of, I haven't shown it, the queue forming, and their comment is an hour to go, and the line's already forming. So everybody gets that notification in their newsfeed so they can see Outback's going to be happening. They've already got a queue out the door right now. Another one of the other pubs that was talked about, there are lots of pubs talked about, pubs and clubs and bars, but one was the Bahama Hut in Tauranga. And so I went to their website, and this is what I found. Websites are a thing of the past. Click an icon below to be linked to one of our social sites. They don't even have a website, because actually now websites are old-fashioned. It's all about social media and mobile devices. So you go onto their Facebook page, very similar. They have lots of photos. They have professional photographers who they employ to take photos of every night, what's happening every night, and then they upload those photos the next day so that everybody can go and look at the Bahama Hut page and share those photos, tag themselves, tag their friends. Facial recognition software, once you've done it once, means that you get tagged automatically. And again, just on the far side here, this is I just got this off the web last week. They've got Thirsty Thursday. We've got $4 tap beers, standard doubles, CC and dry cans, Smirnoff Ice, still only $5 in selected shots. So they're doing these promotions at the time that they're happening to get people into the club. But the photos are really important, and the photos mean that people keep going back to these pages. Here's an example. CR says, and I know that a lot of my friends are hard out into photos in town, and because clubs take photos in town, they're straight away, Sunday morning, they're straight on there, eh? They're on Outback page, waiting for the photos to be uploaded to tag everybody in them. Yeah. Well, my friends are freaks, so you know, but yeah, they love Facebook photos and stuff, so that's what they do. So quite often people don't take their own cameras or use their phones to take photos of themselves out drinking in town, because actually the bars and the clubs are doing it for them. Also, Snapstar's doing it professionally. So you can also go to the Snapstar site if you've been out in one of the major cities in New Zealand. The promotional photographers working for bars or brands take photos of consumers and upload these images to Facebook, like I've just explained. People tag, like, share, and comment on that image. And then, importantly, these are circulated within the news feeds of friends and friends of friends and wider networks. So the products or the bar's image becomes part of a stream of content generated by people and their friends. Okay, so what's new in this context? Facebook is a place where you tell a story about yourself, your tastes, your preferences, your cultural world. And alcohol brands are fully part of this everyday Facebook practices. Every time a person interacts with a brand on Facebook, that exchange spills over into the news feeds of their friends. They act in the same way as friend relationships do. They mimic human-to-human interaction on these sites. It's difficult to figure out on these sites what material is generated by a user and what's commercial. The alcohol content that's made by or passed on by friends or friends of friends is really influential here, because young people are influenced by what their mates do and what their mates like. And because of all of this, this kind of material just isn't seen as marketing within this context. Okay, come on. Right, no, gone too far. Right, what's new in this context? Alongside the liberalisation of alcohol policies, there's more availability, there's more outlets, there's more hours we can buy, there's more places we can drink. The saturation of digital alcohol marketing, as well as the online content about drinking and drunkenness, basically normalises this way of drinking for this group of the population. Mobile devices are important. With their geographic location tracking, They have information knowing where you are and when you're there. So the marketing is becoming increasingly intensified because of this, both spatially and temporally. There is this seamless interaction going on between the online and the offline. And what this does, in turn, is provides more detailed data than ever before. The digital data shadow is becoming longer and it's being used in sophisticated ways. I mean, basically, industry self-regulation, all we need to do is look at the online material to see that industry regulation isn't working. The ways in which alcohol products are promoted on Facebook violate the industry's own codes. It's not just in the content, but also in how easily accessible this content is to underage young people. But it's a perfect way to capture the next generation of drinkers. So, what does this mean for public health and health promotion? As all of our speakers have said this morning, behavioural change approaches focused on education and changing beliefs, they're just not enough, and they're certainly not going to work in the current marketing environment. It seems our current attempts at health promotion within an online mediated drinking culture are outmoded, like this phone here. And they're just a drop in the ocean compared to what's happening within social media. At the moment, we just don't know much. We need to be collecting basic data about what's happening within the digital world, and we need to be conducting studies that examine corporate practices. And then we need to be using this information to create effective alcohol policies. At the moment, we really don't know much about the dynamics of online alcohol marketing, its impact on drinking practices, or its links with harm. And I finally just want to end by looking at this popular notion of individual responsibility that's used by the alcohol industry and by governments around the world. And what this notion does is it actually stops us seeing the importance of institutional, social, and cultural factors that shape young people's cultures of drunkenness. Social networking sites allow individuals to create and share identities, but these are within important networks of friends, burgeoning relationships with alcohol products and players in the nighttime economy, and also within sophisticated, tailored marketing practices that aren't seen as marketing practices. So I just want to finish there, and I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you, Antonia. I'm really challenged by the idea that you've just done service and didn't see it as engaging marketing, or didn't see those strategies as marketing. And I'm minded to the whole legal issue of, are they being abused? Is there any form of consent? Like, is it, if you're engaging in social marketing, is it assumed that you're given consent to receive, accept, or for your information to be mined in those ways that you talked about? It's just raising legal questions for me around those practices. I was just wondering if Janet was still here, and whether you had any sort of thoughts on that too, about the legality. Just seems socially immoral to me, but...
Well, Facebook is commercial, and the legal, when you sign up for Facebook and you accept the terms and conditions, it's that you pass on all that information. It's a commercial platform that makes its billions and trillions by passing on that information to not just alcohol companies, but all sorts of commercial interests.
Yeah, there was just an underlying theme to me that this is sort of unknown or ignorant participation in something that they're not really aware that they're participating in.
I think part of the difficulty is that because so much of it is blurred between the commercial and the user, so when on the Steinlager page where you get people to upload photos of them and their mates, TUI do it as well, they all do, but it means that, okay, which is marketing and which isn't? And you argue it's all marketing. So, but how do you regulate that? And one way of regulating it is to say no alcohol product pages on Facebook. That would be the socially responsible thing to do. But Facebook, again, its bottom line is profits. It makes a lot of money by selling this data.
In France, they have the regulation. Do you know if Facebook have different rules in France? Is this still happening here? Would you?
No, Facebook doesn't. It's a globalised thing, so I don't think Facebook has different rules in France because I don't think it can.
Can I just comment on that? They lost the fight to get the ban covering the internet in France quite recently. They lost the fight. So it's legal for French people to be involved with marketing on the internet.
I mean, the digital world is globalised, so any kind of challenge and any kind of, anything we want to do, it needs to be an international global response.
One of the comments you said about people put on things that the beer companies can't put it on as a way of saying, back to get pissed off and stuff like that. Do they have the negative things? Was there any evidence to show that people were put off with products because people said this tastes awful? Or
I suspect those comments will be taken down pretty swiftly.
so the companies can actually take off the comments?
Yeah, you can take off your... But it's interesting because one of our participants was across the group, so there's only one across all of those people, but one said when they realise there's a Snapstar photographer out in town, they have a water. Because this one person said they actually didn't want to be looking too drunk, so it made them think about what they were drinking and how they might. But the other thing about, just one, but that was something, that actually it made them think about their drinking. But the other thing was that, when we did the individual interviews, what we found was that, it's not everybody's putting up photos of their friends vomiting and being comatose or anything. Most of them are putting up photos of them and their friends having fun. And within their own friendship groups, they had rules about what's okay to put up and what's not. But when you start talking to them about this, they say, oh yeah, that was the night that was great. And we took that photo, that was just before I fell down that lot of stairs. So the photo of the falling down the stairs or, having a broken ankle at the bottom doesn't go up. But the picture of them having fun does, and them and their friends know what that photo represents. So they can share that event. But so it's kind of like an airbrushed culture of drunkenness on Facebook. Because, there are photos of quite negative behaviours up. But for most people, it's about the fun and the pleasure and remembering the stories, even if the photos are just triggers to remember that was just before you fell down, or this was just before you vomited, or, Yeah.
Do you think this is the same group of people who are refusing to follow their census forms because they are worried about sharing their private information?
I'll tell you, one of the things that really struck us, we were so surprised that these young people didn't know very much about privacy. And so we ended up on our website. I don't know if I put up the last slide there, but it's got our website on there. We actually developed some information and sites you can go to for how you update your privacy settings on Facebook. Yeah, it's really surprising that they see themselves as very savvy media consumers, but actually, when it comes to the online environment, they're not.
What is one last question there again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know for a fact that most of my friends and everyone I know doesn't read terms and conditions. There's a straight away. And no patience for that stuff. So.
Well, especially when you've got a site that's got 1 billion members. It's just like, everybody's doing it. It's the normalisation. Everybody's doing it. I've just accepted it. Everyone else thinks it's okay. Yeah.
Why read all that?
Yeah, and even if you read it, you probably think, oh, well, that's fine. Yeah, there's our website.
So would your subjects be appalled, or would they find an appeal from the pictures taken by coppers, say, or anybody who happens to be on the street showing sort of Porky Place at midnight?
They wouldn't be appalled. They'd just go, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what we do. We're having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't be appalled. And part of it is that the environment is so encouraging of this behaviour, not just the marketing, but the whole saturation of drinking in this way, the whole nighttime economy, is that they see it as, what's the big deal? You know, you provide us with an environment like this, and then we go out and then you talk about individual responsibility. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense.